Well, it's back evening. I haven't filmed really much today. All I've done is put the sheet on up here, and I've got the angle to fill in between the top of this bit and here worked out. I think I've clamped it, marked it off, brought it down and cut it. You'll probably see that in the next clip, Tom, which will be sort of, where are we, Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. To fill in this piece and then start with the roofing up here and another piece angled over the top. So there's one coming up, one coming down. So I finished that off today, and while I had still the energy left, I've had to put the tarpaulin back over because I don't know whether it's going to rain tomorrow. It's not looking promising, so I might put a kibosh on outdoor work. But this evening I've just finished off filling in with the odds and sods with anything that I've got that will fit or near enough, damn it. So we've filled all this bit in bar here, which I may or may not put a beam across and leave it as a ladder access, or just have it so that I can get up through the lift. If I haven't got a vehicle in here, I can obviously half raise it to put anything in here. I've still got to sort out a few bits in there, but again, that's just sort of another fill-in job. So yeah, although it's a mishmash, it looks quite a spacious storage area, which hopefully it will be. I've got plenty of crap to put in here, so it's got to save a shed so I can get rid of one. Well, that's one of the jobs I've got to add to the snag list. Where the roofing felt ends and the fascia board is, can go a bit higher. It doesn't eliminate that problem completely, but I think on this side I can raise it up. The other section over the loft part I had done as high as I can get, because obviously if you push it higher then you create a ridge, so any moisture running down the roof would collect and pool along the base, so you still need it smooth to come off. But I always knew that was going to be an issue, but that's a bit too much of an issue. I mean, that's big enough for a bird to get in and nest inside the bloody garage. So that's one of the sort of things I've got to add to the snag list. I haven't done anything today other than just come in here and pick the phone up. I've still got to put the ridge on, which I do need to crack on and do that, because this felt only has like a 3-month guarantee in sunlight before it can obviously start decaying from the UV rays. So yeah, all I've done is moved a piece of wood today, and that's literally it. The weather's not favourable for the roof continuation, so the tarpaulin will live on a little bit longer. Kneeling on this stuff for 2 evenings, and the batten that you can just see through there on my knees is now starting to take its toll. I had a strap on yesterday. Make your own jokes up there. Till it got too much of a problem and I had to take it off. But yeah, the body's starting to tell me that I'm running out of credit, as it were. So yeah, we'll have a couple of easy days or whatever. Obviously the weather is going to throw a spanner in the works yet again, as it always does. So I've got a few sort of easier bits to do in here. I've just chucked this wood on top just to allow a little bit more sort of load distribution, as the smaller cut sheets do tend to be a little bit saggy when you're kneeling on them with one knee and pushing all your weight down. Not that it's going to really be an issue once it's in use for its intended use, which isn't people walking about and standing on it, so it's not a vast issue to worry about. Doesn't look that great from downstairs when you look up, but how often are you going to look up? So I'm not too worried about it. It sort of worked out fine. it's good enough for what it'll be, which is just some storage, as we tend to when we have a space, fill it with something. Well, it's evening now. I just done a little bit of more tidying up, getting some wood out of the old shed and sorting through it, and finding a home for it up here. Back's causing me some issues, so I've sort of delayed, despite the nice weather today, as you can see as the sun's setting and in the west over there. I've delayed sort of doing anything. It would have been an ideal day today, you know, low wind, but I just didn't increase the risk of getting started and then be laid up for a month, because the muscles in my back are weakened anyway because of my condition. So I'm playing on the erring on the side of caution. So I'm just doing little bits and pieces, and that's it. So not a very productive week really, but it is what it is. Despite the miracles of modern medicines, they don't work. Well, not very well anyway. So yeah, there's not much to update so far. So for a change, we're on the roof instead of under it. I sort of postponed, or even postponed, last few days due to weather and just general well-being, or lack of. It was a case of today is going to be, I think, the only good low wind day this week, I think, if the forecast is to be believed. So I've cut my piece that I'm going to use to undercut the roofing sheet, as you can see there. I'll get down to ground level, as it were, and then obviously there'll be another one like that way, so that will box that section off. The only thing is the transition at the top is a bit of a head scratcher at the minute, because obviously if I flatten a piece out of this angle over that top section, water could still get under it, and at the point where I've cut, where it goes flat, there's a gap there which could be a problem. Now I could bring the sheet further over, but that just sort of then means I've got to trim all of the sheet back further down. Let me zoom back in. Mobile phones aren't very good with zooming control, because obviously it's overhanging more than it should be already. So I'm just messing about with an old sheet to see what we come up with, because obviously we need it to come along here. The roofing sheet will sit there, and the other one of these flipped around that way will come down here, hence this bit here, because the sheets aren't long enough to cover the top of the wall panel, so the wood beam's exposed there, so it's behind the felt in this tin, so there shouldn't be any moisture get into it. Any water that does run down here shoots off and then discharges down the roof. But I have noticed last couple of days I thought it was the wind had just rucked up the roofing felt, but actually water has pooled underneath that batten, so I've now got to try and prise the fascia off, because I sealed it all up where there was some big gaps due to the panel dints in the panels. So I've now got to prise that off and lower it down a bit, so that I don't get any problem with water, which sort of is the trade-off where you get that gap. I'm now starting to think I should have bought an extra lot of batten, and when I built the roof, done a piece of timber inside, like an eaves tray, which I did look at buying that, but it was quite expensive for this job. But in hindsight, it probably would have been worth putting over. But so be it, it's done now, so it's too late. At the worst case, I'll have to see what batten I've got left and trim it and fit one in between each one, just to blank it off. But then again, you still got to be careful you don't raise it up too high, and cause any problems with any pooling, although there shouldn't be too much water coming through. Once the sheet's on, you might just get an odd little drip through one of the screw fixings, or if there is any condensation between the sheet and the felt, it should obviously just then run down the felt and discharge away. But hopefully there won't be any issues. We won't know until we've had a humid summer and a cold winter again next year, so hopefully I won't be updating you with a big fail next year. Although I'm not going to block off anywhere, so there will be an airflow passing under. Hopefully the birds won't nest under the ridge, which is sort of going to look like that. That's an offcut I'm just trying. That offcut will probably end up along here. So I'll get back to you when I've fathomed some out. Well, we marked off what we think's right, cut the excess off. Let's find out if it fits. Well, I had a bit of a mishap down there and bent that as I was stepping over it and stumbled and pushed it away, but it's kicked back in place. So we've got the first 3 sheets on the overhang. Oop. So we've got, well, the mark there somewhere, if it focuses, 12 foot, which is the length of these other sheets. So that's how much overhang, one onto the other. I weren't going to mess about cutting them, no point really. I'll just put a little stitching screw there just till the sealant holds, and my clamp up the top. The valley's now fixed in, so I'll be offering a sheet up there next and seeing if I need to trim it or overlay it, cut it away some way so it can fold down, and then the external capping will go along there. Ooh, more aircraft. F-35s, noisy buggers. Probably off for Tiffins and Brill Cream. Yeah, so that will be the next phase. Getting the final 3 on, which I've run out of time today and energy, so I will now button up for the night, see what the weather's like, and see if I can get away with leaving the sheet off. And carrying on tomorrow or not, as the case may be. If not, we've got plan B, because we've gutted the electric system. I've done the cable and ended up taking off the old consumer unit and ripping all the wiring out and having to put the new one in. So these wires hanging around like spaghetti while I temporarily hook power back up so that the other sheds have got power for the freezers and things. So bad weather it'll be electrics, good weather it'll be roof, weather permitting, wind permitting. So see you in the next segment or the next video.